Alright everybody, I'm going to show you some advanced brush techniques that you can do with Lightroom. It's a really powerful time-saving tool that you can use, especially if you're editing a lot of photos of the same person and you're doing some drastic changes. So this is my colleague Miriam. She teaches at Chandler Gilbert as well, and she had me take a headshot of her. And I'm just using this as an example, and I've gone through and I've done all of the global edits on this photo. So I'll show you the before and the after. So this is before, this is after. You know, I edited it, made it a little bit more punchy in the contrast and the saturation, and really expanded the information across the histogram. Looks pretty good to me. But let's just say that Miriam is requesting that I change the color of her eyes, or I change the intensity of her eyes. She wants to really have these eyes that pop out. And Miriam has very nice eyes, and she has requested, 15 headshots for me, and she wants the eyes and all of her headshots to be these like really saturated things, maybe different colors. So I'll show you how we can make a custom brush for that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the brush tool over here. And remember, you can make the brush tool larger or smaller with the bracket keys. The right bracket makes it larger, the left bracket makes it smaller. You also can slide down to the brush menu and change the size with the slider and the feathering. The feathering at 0 is a really hard edge. The feathering at 100 is a really soft edge. I try to go somewhere in the middle. So now I'm going to make my brush a little smaller. And I'm going to just start painting out Miriam's eyes. Alright, and remember, if it's not turning red, that's your mask. You can always hit Show Selected Mask Overlay. You can turn that off and on. Okay, that looks good to me. I'm going to add to it over here. I'm not advocating that you do sloppy work, but you can be, you don't have to zoom into 600% and get really crazy with the painting out objects with the brush filter, because Lightroom does a pretty good job of kind of averaging those borders out. So I think it looks pretty good right here. So now I'm going to go over, I'm going to unclick Show Selected Mask Overlay, and I'm going to go up to my edits. So the first thing I could do is, let's mess with the temperature of her eyes. So if Miriam wanted blue eyes, this is how I could give her blue eyes. We could give her green eyes. We give her purple eyes. That's pretty weird. Let's do a pretty extreme change here. Let's actually change the color of her eyes. Maybe brighten them up just a little bit. Now I'm pushing this to an extreme because for the demo. I'm not advocating that you guys go this crazy. Okay. That right there is pretty huge. Another powerful thing you can do is always scroll down, and here it says color. You can add a color hue to whatever you have selected. So look at the hue we could add into this. Now, once again, that's pretty extreme, but I'm going to add maybe a little bit of yellow in there, maybe somewhere around there. Remember, I can always increase the saturation by scrolling up. Now she has yellow eyes. Is that when you're on like a ship and you don't eat enough oranges, you get jaundice, you get yellow eyes? That looks pretty good to me. We're going to say that's good. So I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to hit done for that. Or actually, before I hit done, I'm actually going to scroll up here, and I'm going to say effects. So I want to actually, let's just pretend that I have 15 photos of Miriam that I want to edit. Now I wouldn't want to go and have to do all of that stuff to all of her eyes individually, because there would be an opportunity to get it wrong, right? And then you're going to have 15 headshots of Miriam, and she's going to have different color eyes in all the headshots. So I want to save this brush, this custom brush. So I'm going to go up to the top of the menu where it says custom, and I'm going to click on that. I'm going to scroll down and say save current settings as new preset. So this is a way of saving a brush preset. So I'm going to say Miriam's eyes. Miriam's eyes. And I'm going to say create. Now I can go to any other photo of Miriam, and I could go before I start painting, and I could select Miriam's eyes and then paint over her eyes, and it'll apply the same change to her eyes. So let's look at the change that it made just to her eyes here. And we'll keep going with this photo and edit some more. So I'll show you before and after. This is after. this is before. That's pretty drastically different. And those eyes are really like popping out. It's a really nice thing. So let's actually change something else with Miriam here. Let's make another custom brush here. So I'm gonna grab a brush. I'm gonna take the effects and let's say, let's use the teeth whitening. So the teeth whitening is a custom preset that comes preloaded in Lightroom, and it's something that's super useful, right? So I'm just gonna hit the teeth whitening, and I'm gonna zoom in here. Actually, put the brush away here for a sec. I'm gonna zoom in, and I'm gonna grab the brush, make sure it says teeth whitening, and I'm gonna start painting out Miriam's teeth here. Once again, not doing the best job in the world. Let's show select mask overlay. Remember, if you overpaint, right? So I painted onto her lips here. Remember, you can always hold down Option, make your brush a little smaller, and remove part of the mask. So now I'm just painting over where I overpainted. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. Now I have Miriam's teeth selected, and I have the mask overlay for teeth whitening selected. And let's see what they actually... So the changes are all right here, and like I said, the teeth whitening comes preloaded on Lightroom. And let's see what they did. It looks like they just take the exposure and bump the exposure up more, which makes your teeth whiter, wouldn't make anything whiter. And we can scroll down, and they desaturate it. So if there's any color cast on your teeth, it gets rid of that. So I think that makes a ton of sense. Now I think that you guys could probably figure that out without having to do a pre-boxed preset, but you can also go in and change any of this stuff that you want. She doesn't have much color in her teeth, which is good. Miriam's got clean teeth here. Okay, let's hit done. And let's go before and after. Before, after. So it just kind of popped out those highlights on her teeth. I think that looks pretty good to me. Let's do one more thing. Let's edit Miriam's lips. Let's make them really pop out here. So I'm going to grab them. Make sure I have new brush selected. Let's go. We're going to go up here, and in the custom menu, we are going to say, actually I've never used the soften skin one. You could explore that. But let's go saturation. So we're going to do a saturation brush here. And show selected mask overlay. And I'm going to increase it. And I'm going to just start brushing over Miriam's lips here. If anybody has Miriam as a teacher, please don't tell her that we used her photo as a demo. She does not know. But I don't take very many portraits of people, so I didn't have much to work with for my edits here. Okay, that's a pretty good job right there. I didn't, it's not the best mask that I've ever made, but pretty good. So there it is, and now we can go and under saturation, we can go bump up saturation. It had it preset at +22. We could go bump it up more. We could, what else could we do? We could really sharpen them like that. We could maybe change the temperature a little bit. Give her some, really make them a little bit more red yellow, warm red. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to hit done. All right, so now with Miriam, let's go before and after. This is after. This is before. So we really saturated her eyes, changed the color of them, kind of took them from this like hazily greenish into this like yellow greenish. We whitened her teeth, and we increased the saturation on her lips. I think that that's a really useful tool for those edits. I'm going to show you one more little edit that we could do on this photo that would be kind of crazy. This is like an advanced brush tool that I covered in the gradient filter exercise, but we'll kind of cover it one more time. So I'm going to do a gradient filter. This is a way that you can kind of make a really stylized edit. So I'm going to show mask overlay, and I'm going to bring this across Miriam here like this. So what I want to do is I want to create this like gradient colored background, because before this I just had this like gray wall behind there, and let's say I wanted to add a color into that background a little bit. So right now I have this gradient filter right here. I'm just spreading it across the background. That looks pretty good to me. And I'm going to go down to the color tab, and I'm going to say add a color. Let me turn off the mask overlay here so we can actually see it. So let's see, we could add like a yellow tint or a green tint. That looks pretty crazy. Let's do like a greenish tint like that. So that looks really good on that back wall to me, and I like how it goes from like really saturated down to almost nothing. And remember, we can always spread these lines apart to really increase that spread. The thing that I don't like is now Miriam, we did all this edit on her face, and now she has this like green color cast. So let's actually edit that. So let's go scroll up to the top, and where it says mask, we can go brush. And then if I grab the brush, I don't want to add to the mask with the plus sign. So I want to hold down Option, make my brush a little bit bigger. So this is going to remove part of that mask. So now I'm just painting over Miriam's face and her hijab and over her outfit here. And let's actually now see the selected mask overlay. Now we see that I've applied that change, but it's not on Miriam, it's just on that back wall. So that looks pretty good to me. So we're going to say done. Okay, let's actually do one more of those, and I'm going to bring it this way. Okay, so select mask overlay. And I see this stuff on Instagram and stuff all the time, people that do edits like this. So that looks good to me. Let's do a color cast down here. Let's do something complementary. Maybe this like purple, something like that. That looks cool to me. Okay, we're going to say that's good. But once again, we want to edit the mask, so I'm going to go brush. Remember, we don't want to add to the selection, we want to subtract from the selection. So you have to hold down Option, and you have to keep Option pressed down. And I'm going to remove the purple from Miriam. All right, so now we have this like kind of cool stylistic background where there was this just gray brick background. So let's go before and after with this photo. So this is after, this is before. That photo changed so much. I think it looks really cool, and I think those little advanced brush techniques that you can use are really going to spice up the edits that you can make on your photos. So I hope that was helpful for you all.